How would you assess some of the performances, especially the debuts tonight? And this group, the people here, where do you see it fitting in your full player pool?
Um, so I think it was a good performance, a strong performance. The guys that debuted played well. Chris got a couple goals. Io scored a goal. When you think about Julian Araujo, I thought he was very good defensively, very aggressive going forward. Had a nice assist. I thought he did a good job. Kyle Duncan and Marco Farfan, to round out the debutants, did a good job. But overall, I really liked the mentality of the group, particularly in the first phase of the game. Really determined, really aggressive, and that's the type of football we want to play, and we showed that we can do it.
Next will be Stephen Goff from the Washington Post.
Thanks, Greg. Piggybacking on Ron a little bit here, what do you see when you watch a game like this? Obviously, the outcome was secondary, I imagine, to what you wanted to see from individuals and combinations and things. But projecting ahead, do you watch this game and you say, okay, this is a guy who could help us in certain areas next year when we have the full group together? How do you assess things like that in this game?
Well, what's interesting is that I really saw a determination from the group, I think, to perform, and that was what was important. Everyone was watching the games in November, so when this group came in, they were very determined. They knew they had a bar's been set, and they need to maintain that bar. And to be fair, I think it started in January with a very good performance in January, two good performances in March, and now, this is an excellent performance as well. And I think that guys are pushing. People are saying if we have a top group, I want to be part of it. And I think you can see that on the field when you look at performances like Aaron Long had, or Sebastian Lletget, or Paul Arriola. A type of performance that he had. These are guys that are saying, I want to be starters on the team. And I really like the mindset from the whole group. And to be honest, the whole week the guys are really, really impressive in terms of their work rate and their determination.
Next will be Doug McIntyre from Yahoo.
Thanks, Michael. Greg, sticking with the sort of big picture theme, when you look forward to 2021, what are you looking forward to most? And sort of on that note, looking at all the players you have performing at the level they are in Europe, 8 guys going to be playing in the knockout stage of the Champions League. How optimistic should people be about what this player group can accomplish next year and in the years going forward?
I'm in your camp. I agree with you 100%. The only thing I'd add is that we still have to give this group time, right? It's still a young group, and that's the important thing. We can't rush it. We need to support them. We need to keep believing in them, and I think the sky's the limit. But the first thing is giving the group time, and next year is going to be a really busy year for us. And we're going to need a lot of players, and that's why this group or this camp was so important, to get more players in, evaluate more players, and see see how we can divide it up next year. But when I think about a really special moment this camp, besides working with the guys, is we're watching on TV together as a team, or a lot of players are there, Barcelona, Juventus, and it just made me think, like, there was no other time where you can watch 2 Americans playing. You're in national team camp, you're watching 2 Americans compete. And I know all those guys are thinking, that's where I want to be. That's what I want to aspire to be. So what I think now is you have possibilities. You have guys seeing, if I do this, I can get there. And that's really important to have that optimism in soccer.
Next we'll go to Jeff Carlisle from ESPN FC.
Hi, Greg. Thanks for the time. Obviously, you have to put these results in context, but how much additional comfort does the Panama result and this result give you in terms of next year and your depth? How confident are you now that whether it's the Olympics or Olympic qualifying, Gold Cup, World Cup qualifying, that regardless of what the competition is, you're going to have enough depth to really be able to fight on all those fronts?
Well, Jeff, that I always tell you guys that I'm always nervous. That's part of the job, right? I think I believe in the process. I believe in that when we train like the way we do train, we will be able to put it, perform in the game, and the guys showed that tonight. But you don't want to get ahead of yourself. You know, it's a day-to-day job. You got to put the work in every single day and hope to get better every single day, and that's where we are as a team. You know, we know right now none of these results are going to help us in 2021. 2021 is a different game, and I think the team has confidence, but you still have to go out in the field and play the game. And every game is different, and you know, we'll prepare as hard as we can to put the team in position to win those games.
We'll go to Paul Tenorio from The Athletic.
Greg, I was hoping to talk about two specific performers. Paul Arriola, who's coming back from a major injury and looked great trying to fight his way back into your picture and show that he's still a part of this group in a big way. And Chris Mueller making his debut, who I think showed the same energy we saw from his season in Orlando. What did you take away from your first up-close look at Chris, and then also to see Paul back tonight playing the way he did?
So Chris gave us exactly what we wanted from him. You know, I talked to him before the game. I said, just be you. You know, be Chris Mueller. We watched you all season long, and this is what we want you to bring to the team. And that's what he did bring, that energy, that relentlessness, that continuing to go and continue to push. And when you see good things happen when you play like that. And so I was really pleased with Chris. You know, Paul is a completely different story, and it almost brought me to tears, you know, after the game when we handed him the man of the match, because you imagine what he's gone through this year. And you imagine that in January he played his last game for us. He's played one game since then, and he comes back and performs at this level in December. I'm really impressed with it. It shows what type of character Paul has. It shows the work that he's put in and all the support that his club gave him to get him to this level. So, you know, we're just really proud of Paul and his comeback. It's a great story.
Next will be Ivis Galarcep from SBI Soccer.
Great, thanks for the time. Paul actually asked about the two guys I was going to ask about. I'm still going to ask about them, but just a little differently. As far as Chris Mueller goes, you obviously coached against him when you were coaching in MLS, and he was on some bad Orlando teams, but obviously this year with their turnaround, he seemed to really thrive under Oscar Berhalter. Did you see that improvement, and what did you see change in his game this year? And as far as Paul goes, was it a case of bringing him in to see where he was and then him kind of exceeding your expectations? Because physically, I mean, he looks like he's definitely put on some muscle, and it looks like he, you know, is way ahead of any schedule anyone would have thought. Did he kind of maybe exceed your expectations on that front?
He did. You know, we were a little bit concerned about his ability to even play in the game, to be honest, coming into the camp. And, you know, so he blew us away. And I think, again, it just shows, it speaks about Paul, you know, the fact that all the work he did. And it's a good example for anyone that has a setback. You know, when you have a setback like that, you work your way through it and you keep pushing. You don't give up. And so, you know, I think he did a great job in this camp. With Chris, what I saw this year in Orlando is just him having a little bit more guidance with his running. You know, he always was a guy that gave you great effort, but this year in particular, I felt that, you know, you could see there was more of an understanding of where he needed to run, when he needed to run. And that's going to be important at this level as well. You know, the difference is the margins are really small to international level. You have to be smart with your movement and really good timing with your movement. So, you know, we're happy with Chris, and it was nice for him to cap off a strong year with a performance like this tonight.
Next will be Kevin Baxter from the LA Times.
Hey, Greg, thanks for doing this, and congratulations on an unbeaten year and what was really a weird year.
Thank you.
I guess a lot of these questions are sounding similar, but you scored 6 goals in back-to-back games against CONCACAF teams, 2 different rosters. I think it's the first time the U.S. has scored 6 goals in back-to-back games. I'm sure Michael will tell us. But what did you learn? What do you come away from tonight knowing that you didn't know a month ago?
And we didn't know a month ago. You know, again, I think it's just a process, right? The process is to develop or to get as many players into our program as possible and get them familiar with the way we play. And that's all it's about. And if you look at this year, it was almost three completely different teams. And so it's working with a lot of different players. I think there's almost 60 players that got caps in 2020. with only 4 games. So that's an interesting number. But for us, it's about how can we influence as many people as possible that when we play competition games, we have a strong selection to pick from. And that's what it's about. And the guys this week did a great job. It's nice to see what you train come out on the field. And, it's nice to get goals from things that we emphasize during the week. So all that's important, and it's good to keep moving forward and keep making progress with this team.
Next will be Julia Poe from the Orlando Sentinel.
I know you already touched on Chris a little bit tonight, but I was just wondering, how does his performance tonight kind of affect where you place him in terms of the overall talent pool for the team?
So, I think we still need to be cautious and careful a little bit. One game I think isn't going to put a guy in or not put a guy out either way. But it's a step for Chris, and it was an important step. And, I'm really proud of the work he's done to get himself to this point. I mentioned in the locker room that, he took a different path than most players are taking nowadays and still got to the same point. And that's the great thing about soccer and a great thing about the work that Chris has put in. So, he definitely helped himself this week, and it was great for us to finally work with him and get to know him. He's a great kid, and I can see why Oscar really likes him.
We have time for a couple more for Gregg. We're going to go to Jonathan Tannenwald from the Philadelphia Inquirer.
Thank you, Michael. Great congratulations.
Thanks.
About the goalkeepers, Bill Hamid played all 90 minutes tonight. And I wonder, I obviously didn't have a ton to do, but I wonder what you saw this week, not just from him, but the others in particular, CJ Dos Santos, who hasn't been in this domestic or senior level mix generally as much as the others.
Yeah, so it was good to get CJ in camp. We've been in touch with his goalkeeper coach in Benfica. We've been keeping tabs on him. It was good to finally get him in camp and work with him. He's a good, promising young goalkeeper that still needs work to perform at this level. But nonetheless, it was good to get him in camp and have him around the team. JT came on strong for San Jose towards the end of the year. Nice to see him. Nice to see the progress he's made. And Bill, Bill is Bill. He's been doing a great job for DC for the last 10 years. And, it's good to have someone that you can rely on in situations like this. And he came in and did a good job, not only with his play, but also with his leadership on the field, really being vocal and coaching the guys behind him.
Our last question will go to Michele Giannone from Univision.
Thanks, Michael. Hi, Coach. I wanted to ask about Sebastian Lletget. He's always there. You've raved about him in the past, what he means, obviously, as a player, but what does he bring to your group, for you, that he's always present and you always talk about him, raving about him, because it goes more than what he can offer on the field, obviously. Thank you.
Well, I think Sebastian, the first thing that comes to mind when I think of Sebastian is his quality. He's a quality human being, and he plays with, he has a lot of quality soccer-wise. Very talented guy. I think he's a very underrated player. He's got a ton of ability, very smart soccer player, very good work ethic. To me, he's a complete soccer player. He came to Europe, was able to perform last camp with us, and you see again this camp, just really strong, really consistent personality, consistent performance as well. So, I can't say enough positive things about Sebastian and the influence he's had on this team.